Clark Lea, UCLA Linebackers coach, with us once more. Seems like a couple fired up practices back to back. I know you love that. What's that coming from?
You know, to be honest with you, John, I don't know. I mean, I think obviously we always preach tempo, and I think these guys too are starting to figure it out a little bit. And to be honest with you, the coaches kind of approach practice the same every day, and we try to be high intensity, and we're out here running around hollering and screaming, but the players have matched us and taken it to the next level this week, and it's exciting to see, you know, and certainly during a bye week too, when things usually kind of drag along for those guys. Been ultra competitive. I think that's the biggest thing is the competition in practice has been heightened, and so you've seen some energy level rise out of that.
You know, Clark, you talk about the energy level, and something Coach Neuheisel mentioned I think has a lot to do with it. Does this team kind of have a new life? You know, do you think it's come back maybe that fire, that energy?
I think so. You know, and again, we say all along we're a young team. We're a team that's figuring out how to win. We're a team that's learning a lot about itself and playing a lot of young players. And so I think it takes a while for things to settle in. But certainly I think these guys have gotten together on their own and said, you know what, this is our year, this is our season, it's in our grasp, and let's go take it and make it ours and make it great. And that's what they're doing. So new life is a good way to put it.
You used the phrase right there that's, I think to fans, kind of foreign, finding out how to win. There's a difference between going out there and pummeling teams and finding a way to win a game. And talk about the difference, and talk about how, for a young team like you guys are, sometimes it takes, you know, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, or maybe in some cases 8 weeks to maybe a light bulb.
Well, I think,
pops.
you know, it's never easy. You know, and certainly you have teams that roll through the season unscathed, and they have maybe superior talent or whatever the case is. But great teams are the ones that line up with teams that probably have equal talent, but find ways to win every weekend. And for us, it's a matter of understanding that just because you're down in the first quarter or down in the third quarter doesn't mean you're out of the game. And you keep throwing punches, you keep lining up every snap, playing your butt off, and good things will happen for you. And that's part of finding a way to win. And the other part too is, and I think Coach did a great job last week talking about what are the factors in the game that really are important when it comes to winning or losing. Turnovers, time of possession, you know, stopping the run. All those things factor in. The next thing you know, we win a game field position, and so he put a heightened emphasis on that.
Yeah.
And I think the guys took to that and took it to heart and looked for those little battles to win within the big battle.
Coach Lee, Jordan Zumwalt obviously seems like his position now that Larimore News is not too good. There's not, you know, any, I guess, real diagnosis on that yet, and Sloan for as long as it is. How does he look as the guy now? You know, is he carrying himself as the guy? Is he watching him change it all?
You know, the constant conversation I have with him is, how do you get a guy to mature in 2 weeks and not be an 18-year-old kid? And it's hard, but you know, he listens to me and responds to the challenges I give him, and most of those challenges aren't athletic because he's got those tools. They're mental in terms of knowing what to do and how to execute, and then they're in his demeanor and how he carries himself. And I think he's got to keep pushing himself to grow up. And as he makes plays and as he gets comfortable, guys will respond to him. But then the next thing they're going to look at is how is he carrying himself? Is he a guy that they can look to in times when their backs are against the wall? And I think that's where Pat Larimore and Steve Sloan are those guys. Players will rally around him, and Jordan's got to rise to that occasion as well.
You know, the big question, especially this week, or last week I should say, against Oregon State, was how was he going to handle, you know, the calls? How was he going to handle just the you know, the added responsibility aspect? How do you think he handled all that stuff?
Well, geez, you know, I mean, I think in the end you measured off making plays, and he certainly did that. Obviously, as we watched the film and graded the tape, there were times when he was out of position and, you know, dropped the wrong way once on third down, and they complete a pass. And it goes back to what we talked about, little battles in the game. You know, getting off the field in third down is critical to us. And for a guy to drop the wrong way in a coverage is crucial. But the hope is that those little errors that are made, you kind of bank them, and next week they're not made. And just keep getting better in that regard. But certainly I think we got him to a point where he's playing fast and making plays, and that's the kind of the ultimate test of success. So.
You know, it's interesting that you say that because, you know, especially at linebacker, it seems to be so much of a chess game. And, you know, you learn one chess move and you say, okay, at some point I'll use that move. And then 5 years later you're playing in a random game and that's when you use it. Is that really a position where it becomes, you know, your bag of tricks almost versus someone else's bag of tricks?
Yeah, I think so. You know, we over the course of a week, we'll go through just a great number of run fits and pass fits and coverage adjustments, to where we may see something this week that we adjust and tweak, that we have to recall from fall camp when we went against our offense and had to tweak it then. And so certainly you got your bag of tricks, you got your adjustments, and that's where when you have a guy with some experience in the middle, and certainly at all the positions, they have easy recall. A guy like Zumwalt, it's hard for him to remember what he did yesterday, but we're working on it, and he's getting better. And here's what I tell him: in the end, he's got to trust his athleticism, trust his instinct, and my job is to equip him with the knowledge to play fast, and then on Saturday go let him play. And at times let him mess up and coach him afterwards. Hey, you can't do this, but keep the tempo up, keep the energy level up, and that's where we find success.
And last thing for you, real quick. Akeem Ayers, obviously banged up for half the season. Seems to finally be kind of rounding back into shape. He had a couple plays today where it's like, all right, that's Akeem. We know that guy. You seen that too?
Yeah, he's taken it personally. There's no one's more critical on himself than Akeem, and of course me, and so that's a dialogue we have. But my job too is to make sure he doesn't get too down on himself and realize what he's capable of. And I think he's starting to, the light's coming on for a little bit, and we're doing a good job of getting him in those positions where he can go out and play his game. So certainly I expect him to rebound, have a very productive end of the season, and help us into a great bowl game.
Awesome. Clark Lea, UCLA Linebackers coach. Thanks, man.